So today is lesson 11. We've got one more lesson after today. And then we're going to have our final exam in a couple weeks. I'll talk about the exam in next week class. Also, just a reminder, and I will remind everyone again at the end of class, assignment 2 is due next week. It's due on Tuesday at 5 o'clock. If you have not started, please make sure you get started now because there's going to be way too much work to do this next Tuesday in a single day. So please get started this week so you still have some time to ask for help if you need it. So what are we doing today? Today, we're going to look at implementing file uploads. So here's my application I've been building in my other class. So we want the ability when we are adding an item we want to be able to attach an image both when we add an item, right, and now it shows up, I also should be able to, when I'm editing an item, if I add something, I can add an item without uploading a photo, but now if I go to edit it, I still have the ability to upload, and now my image gets uploaded, it can be displayed and attached. So we're going to kind of replicate this same functionality today. On our PHP gaming site. When we go to add or edit a game, we also want to be able to browse, find a file, upload it to the server, and attach the name of that file along with our game record. So we'll talk first about how the process works in general, and we'll just do a simple upload example first. And then we'll integrate the file upload into the add and edit at the end of class today. So how does file uploading work? We're basically allowing users to submit files on their own computer and upload them to the web server. And there's lots of different use cases for this. But the way it works is the same every time, regardless of why we're uploading a file or what kind of file we're uploading. Can you think of what's one website you use commonly that allows you to upload files? So let's talk about some of the use cases here. Okay, Blackboard, right? It allows you to upload. It allows you to upload your assignment submissions. It allows me to upload, documents into weekly learning or assignment documents. Okay, that's a good example, David. Anybody else? What other websites do you use that allow you to upload some kind of file? Okay, Felix, that's a good point. Right, so something like Facebook, or David says, yeah, Facebook, and Felix says any social media like Facebook, anywhere you can upload photos, something like Instagram, any site where you can upload, like GitHub allows you to upload an avatar to your GitHub profile. That's a good, right? So on my GitHub, I'm able to upload in my profile, right? If I click, I can change. And if I edit, I can upload, right? So then it allows me to choose a file on my computer. What other kinds of sites let you upload files? Social media does, Blackboard does. Well, David, it would really be the same thing if you're using a web-based email client. right? So if I go to my Georgian email in my browser, so using any web-based email like Gmail, Hotmail, just loading super quickly. So if I make a new message, right? When I go to attach a file, there's my file upload. So that would be another example. So here were some of the ones you guys named. 3 of the 4 examples I had. Media, a media library in social media, document submission in a learning management system, an attachment in a webmail client. Another common thing would be uploading, that's used a lot in business, is uploading spreadsheets. So let's say, for example, yeah, let's say, for example, we have a supplier who wants to add a bunch of products to an e-commerce portal. They don't want to fill out a form. They already have all their products, and maybe there's thousands of them. They already have it in, let's say, an Excel file. We allow them to upload that file, and then we can read the content of the file and save all those products in our database. I used to do this with a company. We did an e-commerce site, and at the end of every day, they would get an Excel file with a bunch of tracking numbers. So it would have an order number and a tracking number, and they'd have this massive spreadsheet that they would get from their shipping company, whether it was FedEx or UPS. So they wanted to just be able to upload that into the back end of the website. And then I wrote the code to attach each tracking number to each customer order. So when a customer logged in, they could click their order. They could then click the tracking number, which would take them, and they could see where their shipment was. So whenever we've got a big batch of data, we'll commonly have those in Excel files or comma-separated text files, and we want to be able to upload those. So how does this actually work? There's 2 parts to doing this in PHP. First thing we'll have to do is we're going to have to add a few things into our HTML form. So in order for a file upload to get copied inside our form, we have to add this attribute in the form tag. ENC type, which stands for encoding type, is equal to multi-part form data. If we try and upload something in any form that doesn't have this attribute, the upload just gets ignored. So the way that this works, how does the file actually get copied from our computer up to the web server? When we use this encoding type equals multi-part form data, what this does is it actually converts the file the user wants to upload, it converts it to binary. And then that binary data is transmitted from the client machine or device to the web server. And then it's recreated, it's copied into its original format. So if you upload it, if you chose a PDF, it'll get converted to binary and then generated as a PDF on the server. If it's a PNG file on your computer because you're uploading to your Instagram account, it'll get regenerated as a PNG on Instagram's server. We also use this input type equals file for each upload. And this is what lets users choose a file on their machine. So we're going to need to add this into our form, and we're going to need an input type equals file. So that's the HTML part of things. It's pretty simple. So what does it look like on the server? How do we process the upload with PHP? So the way PHP works is whenever a user uploads a file, it gets uploaded to a temporary location in the server cache. It doesn't stay there forever, but it will always be unique. So even if you upload the same file twice in a row, that temporary location in cache, it'll be a unique address each time. While the file's sitting in this temp location, we can inspect it. So for example, if we're building like a photo gallery, we may want to check that the file the user uploaded is actually an image, that they didn't upload a Word document instead. We can also check the size. So maybe we have some limits around how big of a file we're going to allow users to upload. And we also have access to the original name of the file, and that's going to be key because one of the issues we might have is file naming conflicts. What happens if two people upload a file with the same name? So we're going to have to consider that and come up with some kind of solution for that because it's a common problem. So yes, there could be a security risk. So we have to be really careful about allowing file uploads and checking, inspecting it, that it's the right type of data. That's one of the things we need to do. So we'll look at this and also how we'll actually try to hack this and look at some security measures we can put in place to ensure we're actually getting the right file type. We're also going to want to generate a unique file name. And that's, of course, to ensure that files don't get overwritten. So there's many different ways of doing this. I find the easiest way is to use the unique session ID. Because PHP will generate a unique ID for each browser session, it means multiple people can access the website at the exact same time. They can upload a file with the exact same name, and the code we're going to write is going to ensure each file gets a unique name. So nothing gets overwritten. And then lastly, we're going to use this method in PHP called move uploaded file. So that takes the file out of the cache, the temporary spot where it gets uploaded to, and then it allows us to move it into whatever folder we want that file to be stored in permanently. So it might be an images folder or an uploads folder or a newsletters folder, depending on the purpose of it. So we kind of have it in this holding area. We can check it, make sure the file is valid, give it a unique name, and then we want to move it to its ultimate resting place. Now, David, coming back to your question about security, there are actually permissions that we'll need to enable on AWS. So by default, if we try and upload a file with PHP on AWS, the file isn't going to upload. And that's because public users don't have write permissions. So we're going to need to enable write permissions, and we actually can do that through FileZilla. So these slides are here for your reference. The file upload slides are here. Okay, so you've got these slides to refer to, but I just wanted to give you this as an overview, and now we can start the process. Are there any questions about the process before we start actually building this and trying it out? So I want to build a simple upload example first. Once we have that working, then we want to integrate file uploads into our existing games and game details and save game pages. But we're just going to do kind of a standalone, a simple example first. I'm going to close everything. We don't need any of these files yet, so I'll just close everything up so I got a nice clean code editor. And I'm going to go ahead and make a new PHP file. I'll call it upload test. The name of the file is not really important. We'll put on a form with our usual method of post. And our action can be, I don't know, process upload test. Because this form is going to include a file upload box, I also now need to add this attribute. Encoding type equals multi-part form data. We'll try the file upload with this attribute, and then I'll show you what happens if we take it out. I'll now put on a simple input. Call it name equals my file. And we've got to specify that type equals file. Then I'll just put on a button. I'm not going to worry about the header or footer or any CSS in this example. So there's our whole form. It looks like a regular form, except we've used the encoding type attribute. And on our input, we've got type equals file. So there's the whole form content. Our next step is to build the process upload test page where we can write the PHP code that will actually inspect the file. And we can examine some of the properties of it. So you can go ahead and create this page manually, or if you're using PHP Storm, you can just use the code prompt. Notice here, my file name is in yellow. It's a warning saying this file doesn't exist, can't find it. But it gives me a little link here to create this file with this name. So I'll just click that, and now I've got a page with the same name. And I'll just put on some PHP tags. We won't write any code yet. I just want to try out the upload page. See at least even how it looks. So this is what it looks like. I get a button that says browse and it says no file selected. And if I click it, it opens up a file dialog box into my operating system. If you're using a different browser, each browser renders the input type equals file a little bit differently. So in Chrome, it says no file chosen. In Firefox, it says no file selected. I think Edge also says no file chosen. But it behaves the same way. So our input type equals file. This is actually one of the rare smart controls in HTML. HTML is pretty dumb. Normally, it's just for formatting and presentation and layout. But our file input actually has some functionality. It allows us to go and browse and choose a file on our machine. So now we want to inspect the uploaded file, if there is one. So we can say, if not empty. Now we're going to use a different array. We've used get and post. We've used get, post, and session before. We're going to use a different array here. Which one should we use? We're not going to use post in this case. Which of these arrays would let us inspect the file that a user browses to? We've got get, session, post, files, cookie, env, request, and server. Which one of these do you suppose we should use to get the file upload? You got it, Chris. We're going to use $_files. And then we'll name, we've got to supply the name my file, because that's the name of our input. So if it's not empty, I guess we could just say else no file upload. So if the user doesn't choose a file, we just want this page to say no file uploaded. So we want to get the file name that was uploaded in the input called my file. And then let's print it out. So this is either going to print out the name of a file, or if nothing got uploaded, it's going to print out no file uploaded. So we can try this, and I can try various files and different file types on my machine. So I'll pick a JPEG, it's called coronalight.jpg, and when I upload it, it shows me the name. If I upload nothing, okay, it's interesting. My check didn't work here. I'll try this. Let's say if it's not null. We'll try that instead. Nope. Okay, maybe we'll say if the name is not null. There. Okay. So if I pick a file, I get the name. If I pick nothing, I get this message. I can also try some other kind of file. Doesn't have to be. Let's see, I'll pick a PDF. Shows me the name. I could pick a Word document. So whatever file name it is shows up here. We can check the file size. So similar to the name, every file upload is a name attribute and it has a size attribute. If I just resend my upload, now that's kind of interesting, right? If I browse to a photo, let's go back here. What do you notice about the file size? It's showing us a number, but maybe not quite the number that we expected to see. What units is PHP using to display the file size? Right. So it actually shows the file size in bytes. So if we wanted to check, let's say that the file wasn't more than, a megabyte, we'd have to convert it to bytes in order to do the check. How many bytes in a kilobyte? Nope, it's actually not 1,000. Close, David. You're even closer. Thanks, Mike. Okay. So whatever value this gives us, keep in mind it's in bytes. If you want to convert it to kilobytes, so let's say you wanted a 1 megabyte limit on file size, you would need to check that size wasn't greater than, it would be this. So your file size couldn't be bigger than 1,024,000 bytes. I don't know. That's just how PHP, that's how their files collection size attribute works. So that's something you have to keep in mind if you're going to do some checking and put restrictions on the size. You're going to have to either use your size limits in bytes or else you're going to have to convert them and do the math. Okay. We'll create another variable called TMP name. And this is going to tell us where the file is currently uploaded to. So we need this in order to move it to a permanent. If we don't know where the file is, we can't move it out of cache into wherever that file is supposed to go. So let's also grab that location. So if I refresh, so here's where it goes. It goes into my XAMPP TMP folder, and it gives it this name, PHP 9845.tmp. This is always going to be unique. If I refresh my page, which re-uploads again, the TMP name value here, this path, is going to change even if I upload the exact same file. So if I refresh, we'll see that. So I'll resend, and notice now I get a different location. So every time where that file gets uploaded, it's unique each time. So now we can check the file type as well. So this array, this files array, for each file that we upload, we have access to the name, the size, the TMP name, and the type. So this one is an image / JPEG. If I upload a PDF, tells me it's an application PDF. If I upload Word document, it gives me this long type: application, VND, open Excel format, Office document, Word processing document, ML.document. Now we can actually limit this. Well, we can try to limit it. We'll come back to it in a minute. This type is not foolproof. So David, coming back to your question about security. So let's say I do something like this. I'll make a new text document. Call it not really an image.txt. I'll open it up. So it's really a text file, but I will save with an image extension. So I've got a text file here, and this might be an executable, something like an exe, for example. Right? I create a virus, it's an executable file. I'm going to rename this, and I'll make it a PNG. So it looks like an image. I'm going to go back and browse to it. So here's my PNG file that's not really a PNG file. And when I upload it, when I check the type, it tells me this is a PNG, but it's not a PNG. It only is a PNG extension. So using the type to check our files is a bad idea. So I'm going to comment this out. We're going to not use this. We can easily spoof the extension. Instead, we're going to use a built-in method called Mime content type. And it wants to know where's the file we're checking. So in this case, we can use our TMP name. So inspect the file. We have to supply a full path to this. In this case, this won't be fooled by the extension. This is going to actually inspect the file and check the content type. So if I try to re-upload this, notice it now tells me the type is text plain. So it's not just based on the extension, it actually, Mime content type, it actually inspects the file itself. And it can identify what kind of file it is, even if that doesn't match the extension. So Mime content type is the proper way to check the file type. Now we can also put some limits in our form. So let's say we only want users to be able to upload images. We can try to force them to only upload image files, but it's not foolproof. So in here, if I add except equals, we can put in what file types we'll accept. So we can accept a PNG, say a JPJ. So if we add this, when the user goes to browse, they will only see files with these extension types. Although they can get around it. It's not foolproof. So I'm going to save this change. I'm going to refresh. So now when I browse, notice it says all supported types are the file types: PNG, JPG, and JPEG. So before in this folder, we saw I had PDFs and other things. Now I only see those files. But this isn't foolproof because the user can simply say, show me all files. And now, once again, they have access to all of the... Sure, no problem. So except it will default what shows in the file upload box, but the user isn't limited. If they know enough to change the file type, they can still choose another kind of file. So we probably should be validating in both places. We should add this. I'm going to upload this to GitHub in a minute as well, David. We're about due for a break. So it is a good idea to prompt the user for the file types that we want, but we still need to check. So here on the back end, if we were only going to allow an image, we would want some sort of check on it. Okay. So this isn't completely done because we're still not doing anything with this file, right? We're inspecting it, but it's just living here in the cache and we can't keep it there forever. So what we're going to do, it's 11:54. We're going to take a pause here. I will upload what we've done so far to GitHub and stop my recording. And when we come back, we're going to need to create a folder and then save this upload permanently. Then we're also going to try it out on AWS because we're going to see how we need to enable certain permissions on AWS for this to work there. Might work on our local host, but it won't work right away on the production server. So we will take a 10-minute break here. We'll be back at 12:05 and I will upload all the code we've done right now.